Good morning, MacLaren. Today I'm going to play for you a piece for solo flute by Debussy. Claude Debussy, who lived from 1862 to 1918, is one of the most influential and famous and beloved composers of the 20th century. There's much that could be said about him, but I'll just tell you a few things. For one thing, he was interested by different kinds of music. Folk music, the music of the Javanese gamelan, which he heard at a world exposition in Paris in 1889. The music played by Russian gypsies. He spent some time in Russia. Music based on improvisation. He was interested in these types of music, and I think you'll hear improvisatory elements in the piece I'm going to play for you. He's also known for his wide palette of timbre and color and his harmonic innovations. The piece I'm going to play for you is called Syrinx. He composed it in 1913 for a ballet called Psyche by Gabriel Moret, and a dancer was supposed to perform a dance to this solo. This piece is inspired by the myth of Pan and Syrinx and the story of the origin of the panpipes from the Metamorphoses by Ovid. And so in this piece, it evokes Pan remembering the nymph Syrinx with whom he was in love, but she had sworn virginity and she would have none of him. And so you will hear sounds of chase in the piece and sounds of sorrow and sobbing and crying, and at the climax it seems to be this passionate cry of despair from Pan because Syrinx ends up being changed into reeds. And so I'll read you an excerpt from the Metamorphoses in English translation. This is from Book 1 of Ovid's Metamorphoses, the story of the origin of the panpipes. Mercury, the favored son of Jove, descending to the earth from heaven's plains, put off his cap and wings, though still retained his wand with which he drove through pathless wilds some stray she-goats, and as a shepherd fared, piping on oaten reeds melodious tunes. Argus, delighted with the charming sound of this new art, began, "Whoever thou art, sit with me on this stone beneath the trees in cooling shade, whilst browse the tended flock abundant herbs, for thou canst see the shade is fit for shepherds." Wherefore Mercury sat down beside the keeper and conversed of various things, passing the laggard hours. Then soothly piped he on the joined reeds to lull those ever watchful eyes asleep. But Argus strove his languor to subdue, and though some drowsy eyes might slumber, still were some that vigil kept. Again he spoke, for the pipes were yet a recent art. "I pray thee tell, what chance discovered these?" To him the god, "A famous naiad dwelt among the Hamadryads, on the cold Arcadian summit Nonacris, whose name was Syrinx. Often she escaped the gods that wandered in the groves of sylvan shades, and often fled from satyrs that pursued, vowing virginity. In all pursuits she strove to emulate Diana's ways. And as that graceful goddess wears her robe, so Syrinx girded hers, that one might well believe Diana there. Even though her bow were made of horn, Diana's wrought of gold, yet might she well deceive. Now chanced it Pan, whose head was girt with prickly pines, espied the nymph returning from the Lycian hill, and these words uttered he. But Mercury refrained from further speech, and Pan's appeal remains untold. If he had told it all, the tale of Syrinx would have followed thus. But she despised the prayers of Pan, and fled through pathless wilds until she had arrived the placid Ladon's sandy stream, whose waves prevented her escape. There she implored her sister nymphs to change her form, and Pan, believing he had caught her, held instead some marsh reeds for the body of the nymph. And while he sighed, the moving winds began to utter plaintive music in the reeds, so sweet and voice-like that poor Pan exclaimed, "Forever this discovery shall remain, a sweet communion binding thee to me." And this explains why reeds of different length, when joined together by cementing wax, derive the name of Syrinx from the maid. So that is the myth on which this piece is based. Enjoy.